Hello and welcome to the harvest season. My name is Al.
And my name is Raschelle.
And I've forgotten how we introduce this thing.
Farming games.
Farming games. Oh yeah, we're here to talk about farming games.
Woo!
So, because we always like to, let listeners peek behind the curtain. Not literally, because
our podcasting curtain is pretty sheer. Let's be real about this.
we took a lawnmower to it. In my head there, I just went, do I call it a lawnmower? Do I call it something else? I think I call it a lawnmower. Do I have a lawn? I have a garden. What's the grass in my garden called? It's not a yard. Is it a lawn?
Al.
Yeah.
The listeners are here.
Okay. I'm very sorry, but I just had an existential crisis about what I call things.
It's okay. It's called a lawn. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, let's go with that. So it's been a month since we recorded an episode, so please bear with us as we get back into this. I have been on a long 3-week holiday, and I don't know what life is like anymore. Plus, I just started a new job yesterday, so I'm very tired. So we'll see how this goes.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be something.
It's going to be a party through and through. Are we going to tell them what we're talking about today?
We're going to... no. We're not going to tell them what we're talking about today. They can find that fun out later.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of news, and there's so much news that one of the news topics ended up becoming the main topic. So, yeah, I apologize in advance.
Welcome to the news episode. 40 minutes of straight up news. It's what everybody has always been waiting for.
Oh, I really hope it's only 40 minutes.
Oh, please. Okay.
So, we'll get into feedback, then what we're playing, and then there's a bunch of news, and then we'll say some stuff that will make you all shout at us, probably.
Yay.
Great. We are really excited and looking forward to this episode. So, first of all, feedback. We actually have some.
I'm like gonna cry. I'm so excited. I'm just honored and touched, and everything's fine.
So Tim has emailed us to ask us if we've heard of Fantasy Life and what we think of it.
And the answer is, you're the third person to bring up Fantasy Life to me, which means I officially have to consider playing it. So,
yeah.
True story. That's my rule. If 3 people say I would like it, I usually try and play it. I haven't played it, obviously. I will try to play it now. I'll let you know.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie, I probably won't play it because it's on 3DS, but it looks interesting, and if Raschelle really enjoys it, then maybe I will. So, I guess just to give a bit more information to those who are just listening to the podcast and don't Google everything as they hear it. Fantasy Life is a life simulation game, so it's not specifically a farming game, but as Tim mentions in their email, it is certainly a close cousin of these types of games.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we are very much known to be very wide and welcoming in terms of games that we talk about on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's so much more we can talk about that. So, yeah.
I'll let you know when I play it.
Raschelle will probably try and convince me to play it at some point.
I mean, I guess that depends on how much I enjoy it.
Well, that's true. That's true. You might hate it.
We all know that the more I love a game, the more aggressively I try and pressure other people into playing it and become distressed when they don't.
And you all get to hear her do it to me. Yay!
Okay. Thank you, Tim, for making me play a game. You didn't know that you were the third person or my 3-person rule, but this is all your fault.
Now you know.
Now you know.
So, the other feedback we have received is an email from someone who would like to remain anonymous. However, they sent us a really nice email. I don't know how to summarize it. Do you want to summarize it?
I believe like the big gist of it was like appreciating us talking about like diversity in gaming and things like that, because that stuff matters a lot, and I really appreciate that it matters to somebody else out there. I kind of like never know quite how much to talk about it because I never know if people appreciate it or not. And a lot of the times I feel like I'm screaming into the void anyway. So like just hearing the feedback that this also matters to somebody else and that like it's appreciated really means a lot to me.
Yeah. So when we got this email, I was having not a great day. I was kind of down a bit. And just reading this email about how much someone enjoyed what we were talking about and how what we were talking about actually mattered, and it wasn't just, you know, random thoughts that came out of our brains, but like someone heard it and felt like it was actually useful for them and that they were thinking that too. Kind of really, it meant a lot to me. And it meant that, you know, sometimes it can feel when you're doing a podcast that you're just doing it as an, you know, ego trip or anything like that. And that's definitely not how I want to be seen. And so it's nice to hear that someone, I'm trying not to make this all about me. It's nice to hear that someone has, that we've said something that someone has really taken to heart. And yeah, there we go. Words.
I love our listeners. They're very good people.
Yes. Thank you very much, anonymous listener.
You know who you are.
You do.
And we love you. And I will definitely make a point to talk a lot more about diversity in gaming, because that stuff makes a difference and is important.
Agreed.
I definitely really like and agree with their rule of like just not playing games if you can't essentially have a character who is a person of color in it. And I think that's a really good rule of just like, hey, want to support something you care about? Actually do it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely.
Cuts out a lot of games.
Yeah.
I really should have said that I'm genuinely excited every time we get an email, because it really makes me happy every single time.
Yeah.
Like, really, I often feel like I'm screaming into the void, and just like having people say, hello, I listened to this is really genuinely delightful and uplifting.
I agree. If you like something that someone does and you want them to keep doing it, tell them that you like it, because it makes it so much better to be able to hear that. Because, you know, other than people telling us, all we have is like a number of people that have downloaded it, which could be nonsense for all we know. Whereas actually hearing from people is so much better. Agreed.
Yeah.
Cool. So, Raschelle, what have you been playing?
Oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe this is going to come as such a shock to you. I've been playing a lot of Zombies Run. I no longer have walking pneumonia, in case anyone was just like on the edge of their seat for this past... It's been a month since we recorded. I don't have walking pneumonia anymore. I have lived. You can stop panicking. I started doing couch to 5K training. It's going well. Playing lots of Zombies Run. I love Zombies Run. Friendly reminder that it's my favorite game, and I want you to tweet at me about it. And I've been playing a lot of Littlewood, which I really, really love. Have I been playing anything else?
Is this a test?
No, I think it might just be more like an existential dread of like what the meaning of play is. I'm gonna just go with that.
Well, that's a good question.
what
Let's not get into that.
This is a farming game podcast, not a philosophy podcast. What have you been playing, Al?
Nothing.
Literally nothing?
I mean, pretty much. Like, since our last recording, I had like 4 days of finishing a job and packing, and then I had 3 weeks of holiday. And when I say holiday, it's not like a holiday that normal people would have. It's very busy, very doing stuff all the time. Like, it's not relaxing, these sorts of things. And so then I came back on Sunday and started a new job yesterday. And so no, I've basically played nothing. Okay. No, that's not quite true. I did spend some time on my holiday playing Duck Game, but yeah, that's probably about it. Duck Game. Have you not seen Duck Game?
No.
Oh, it's amazing. It's is it Adult Swim? I think it's an Adult Swim game. And it's basically this really fun 2D brawl shooter, I guess would be the way to describe it. So, like, imagine Smash, but instead of punches, you just get guns.
Oh, okay. And you're a duck?
You're a duck, yeah. And so you can
Okay.
quack. There's a button for quacking.
Okay, that made my day. Perfect. I'm awake. Great. Thank you. Duck game.
Duck game. So it's good fun. It's like 10 quid on Switch eShop. And it's good fun if anyone likes that sort of game. It's not a farming game, but I was playing that.
That is a roller coaster of an adventure.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was mostly playing like 15 minutes at a time of that. But it's good fun. Duck game. Buy it. It's fun.
Duck game.
Woo. So that's what we are playing. Shall we talk about some news?
I love news. This is everyone's favorite section, right? I don't actually know because nobody tweets at me and tells me. You should tweet at me and tell me what your favorite section is.
Well, hopefully it's the news for this episode. Raschelle, do you remember Summer in Mara?
Oh, you bet I do.
Excited about it?
Mm-hmm.
It's delayed.
That's fine.
Correct response.
I'm a patient person, and I respect the fact that it takes time and money and effort to make a game. And I am quite content if they need more time.
So, for those who have forgotten, Summer in Mara was a Kickstarter game that was kickstarted at the beginning of the year, I want to say.
Was it? Look, I don't know.
Something
Time
like that.
Time isn't even real.
I wasn't really asking you. I knew you were going to say something like that.
It's my default answer because it's the truth.
And it was originally meant to come out in September, which I don't like to say I told you so, but I did say at the time seemed a bit ambitious. However, I won't say that. It has now been delayed until February, which isn't a massive delay. It's only a few months. And this is primarily because they are now going to be self-publishing, so they don't have to have another company publish for them, which hopefully means they'll make more money from it, which is good. Yeah. And as a fun teaser, they said at the end, they posted an image of the game working on Switch. So the Switch port is underway and working, and obviously will come out at the same time.
And it's just very exciting.
Very. So yeah, I think it's one of these things where it can be disappointing sometimes when there are delays to games. Obviously, because especially when you get to the month before it was meant to come out, for example, although I think this news came out in July, not August. But I always like to think back to Miyamoto when he said that a delayed game is eventually good, a bad game is bad forever. And it's so true, you know, we can rush these things through and get things earlier and they'll just be bad. Like, how often do, for example, we complain about Pokemon games feeling like they're rushed? And just like 6 months could have made a massive difference to them.
Yep. Which is why my official policy is that's fine. I will wait. Like, I would rather spend my money on something that has had the time taken on it with actual care that they decided they just needed more time on than something that's kind of like half done and sketchily put together just so it can meet some arbitrary deadline that doesn't actually mean anything. So...
Yeah. And let's be honest, there are plenty of games. Go play another game.
We've
told you about enough games.
We're not going to run out of video games to play at any given moment. Like, trust me, there's like thousands of them. You're going to make it through this.
Definitely. Even if you only have one console or you only have a computer, there are still so many games. Go buy another one if you have the money. Or find a very cheap indie game. Go buy Duck Game. That'll keep you going till February.
We have a lot of games we could say. I'm not going to list all the games to say. I was like, maybe I should make a list. And then I was like, no. The list is every news article we've ever talked about on this podcast. Go.
Well, speaking of September, do you know what's coming out in October?
No, what?
Doraemon Story of Seasons in
Woo!
not Japan.
October 11th, right?
Correct. So that is only a couple of weeks after Summer in Mara was meant to come out, so go get that instead.
Yeah, woo! We're gonna get it.
Yeah.
I like that they didn't tell us until like 2 months beforehand.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, surprise! Also, you can have it too.
Well, I think they'd announced that it was going to be autumn, but they hadn't announced when exactly. So now we know.
Now you know.
It's also already out in Japan. I think it came out a couple of weeks ago in Japan, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
So if you speak Japanese, you can go buy it now on the eShop because the Switch is great on that aspect. If you want to wait for English, then you're going to have to wait till the 11th of October, but that's only 2 months away.
And then you'll only have a month to play it before Pokemon comes out.
Well, a month and 2 weeks. It's not the end of November?
A month and 6 days.
6 days. Or is it the 17th?
I'm pretty sure it's the 17th.
Fair enough. Oh my goodness, Pokemon's coming out soon.
Yeah. I can't wait for Pokemon to come out so we can stop talking about the national decks.
Yeah.
It's my real priority now, is I just want people to stop. I lied, it's November 15th.
15th, okay. So,
oh my gosh.
a month and 4 days.
It's going to be the most exciting month in 4 days.
Woo.
Of Story and Seasons. The Story of Seasons, yay!
So, speaking of farming games, the Snacko devs have announced that they're going to be working on Snacko full-time.
Woo!
So, up till this point, they'd been working in their spare time and having other jobs, but they have taken the plunge and are going to... They've cut off their jobs and they've moved house and they are now just going to be working on Snacko, relying on Patreon income. So if you want Snacko to happen, you might need to help support it.
Do it! We live in capitalism. Use your money to support things you approve of.
Yeah.
Like Snacko.
I approve if you want to spend your money on making Snacko happen.
Agreed. Please do. I want this game. Yeah.
The other thing, I don't think that this had been announced until this blog post, is that it's not been announced that they're definitely going to do it. However, one of their goals is to port Snacko to the Switch as well.
Which would be super exciting.
It would.
Because I love playing things on Switches. If you're new, if this is your first episode, or if you've been playing us quietly in the background the whole time and not really paying attention,
then you might not know that we both enjoy playing on the Switch more than other things. So, yeah. That was really kind of anticlimactic, wasn't it? Oh, dear. Yeah. Oh, the other exciting thing about Snacko is, so one of the developers was doing a live stream of developing the game, which is a very odd experience, but really interesting. And I joined and said that I was excited and said that I was from the podcast, and they said they'd listen to an episode. So that was...
I don't even know what to do with that information.
Yeah.
Hi, Snacko devs.
I mean, I don't think they're going to be listening now because they said that they don't really listen to podcasts, and that's why they'd only listen to one episode, but...
That makes it even more of an honor.
It does. It does.
It's like we're real professional podcasters.
Kind of.
Who do this not professionally and not for money.
Yet.
Tweet at us if you want to give us your money. Let us know.
Oh, dear.
You know what other games are developed by developers?
Hopfrog of Forager fame has given us another sneak peek of something coming in the next update, which is in the hard mode, which is coming in the next update. There will be new enemies that will attack your buildings and knock them down.
Which is very rude.
It is. So yeah, there are updates coming and that's exciting. Yay!
Woo!
So, another thing that was released in Japan because this is a segue from earlier, is Rune Factory 4 Special has been released in Japan now.
Yay, which means maybe we'll get it soon.
Yeah, we don't have a release date for this one either. But
That's okay. I'm really excited for you to play this one, though.
I am looking forward to finding out what all the fuss is about Rune Factory.
I don't think Rune Factory passes the play as a character of color test.
Oh no.
Unless you count them as being Japanese.
That feels like a debate for another time.
Yeah, that's actually a very complicated debate that has a lot to do with like societal expectations and defaults and interpretations. We're not going to have that conversation today.
If you want to hear discussions about that, then You Is This Racist do a lot of discussions about stuff like that.
That's one of my favorite podcasts.
I know. You recommended it to me.
I did, didn't I?
You did.
Because
And I very much
love
enjoy it.
It's a really good podcast. Go listen to them.
They're great.
If you have to choose between us and them, probably them. They do more good in the world. Sorry, Hal.
I mean, I don't disagree, but I don't know why you would need to choose between us and them. There's enough room for both of us.
Okay, you make a convincing argument. Really what it is, I'm excited for you to play a different subgenre of the farming game genre, so.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about Rune Factory 5 while we're at it?
Yes. There's been a teaser dropped for Rune Factory 5.
I'm really dumb. No, it's not dumb. I just like, it's very frustrating to me to be like, oh, this is interesting. I want to see about this. And then the teaser is just like, look, we're making a game. Here's all the games we've made before. Here's a silhouette of the main characters. I hope that's all you needed. Like,
it is the definition of teaser, right? There's nothing more than teasing in it.
A waste of 40 seconds. A waste of 80 seconds because I've seen it twice now.
However, there is one interesting thing that has come out of it, although wasn't in the actual teaser, is that they have announced that 2 of the characters from Rune Factory 4 Special Edition will appear in Rune Factory 5 if you play Rune Factory 4 Special Edition on your Switch.
I wonder who.
Here's an interesting question, right? So, do we actually know that the silhouettes were of the protagonists, or could they be of the 2 characters that will cross over?
I feel like it's definitely the protagonists, but also I don't know. I don't know who, to my memory, the visuals did not strike me as a character I would recognize from Rune Factory 4. So, I don't know. I can't tell you. I can't tell you because we don't know, because we don't have any information. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I presumed they were the protagonists until right this second when I was looking at the 2 bits of information next to each other and went, oh, well, maybe that's not what it is. We will find out. And we'll
find out and let you know.
We will keep an eye on it, as Raschelle likes to say.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of games that are remakes of old games.
That was almost good.
Yeah. There's been a lot, and by a lot I mean, there's so much. A lot of information about Story of Seasons Friends of Mineral remake.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as I said, it's been 4 weeks, and there's been so much. Is there anything in particular you've seen in that you want to talk about? Because most of it looks to me just like some information about some of the characters and some of the changes between the original game and the remake, including a lot of quality of life improvements, but there doesn't seem to be anything that's kind of massive and sticking out at this point in time.
There was an interview, and we don't know for sure details or like all the surrounding information, but there was information about like same gender courting, but it's really weird and sketchy information because like basically it was specifically said like the male protagonist can court women and also other male characters who you don't marry, you become best friends.
Okay.
But it was only specifically said about the male protagonist. I don't know about the female protagonist. I don't know. This wouldn't be the first time a game has done the best friend thing.
Yeah.
There was one other game that did the best friend thing, but like, it's not the same as
marriage.
Me getting to marry Potpourri. Like, we don't know a lot of particular details about that. Like, I think it was just like mentioned in one interview somewhere.
Yeah, presumably it was a Japanese interview as well, so it could be a
Yes.
translation issue.
Yeah, but yeah, there was another game that had essentially like the whole best friend thing, so like it wouldn't be unprecedented. It would just be weird for 2019. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I agree that would be weird. It's something that I could see them going like, we don't want to stray too much from the original game, but we want to kind of progress it in some ways. I mean, I'm not saying that's right, but I can kind of see where they would be going with that if that was the case.
mm-hmm.
But it does also feel like it almost feels like they may as well have not done anything, right? Because it sounds kind of pandering in a way, but not actually useful, if that makes sense.
You're trying to have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
It's
Like, oh, we want there to be same-sex relationships, but we don't want to annoy the bigots.
Yeah. Just let me marry Potpourri, okay? That's all I'm asking. It's not that hard. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll let you know.
Yeah.
Things I care about in video games.
Whoop whoop.
So, because I think so far, what's our list of farming games where you can have same-sex marriage?
Stardew.
Stardew? Little.
Yes, presumably you can in Littlewood, because otherwise some of those characters are leading me on a lot.
Littlewood, except that
it's not fully implemented yet, is it?
Yeah, it's not implemented. I was gonna say, like, presumably.
Look, if this would be like the weirdest way, like having characters that are in the game presumably the same gender as my character clearly flirting with me and then going, oh, but you can't marry them, would seem like such a weird decision to make.
Yeah? I don't know. I trust the good dev over at Littlewood, so
yeah,
don't disappoint me. Otherwise, me and Willow have been having a really hard time.
Speaking of Littlewood. Boom.
Have you seen some of those Littlewood updates?
I have seen some of them. I've not played any of them because, as is discussed, I've been on a long holiday. But yeah, there's loads of exciting updates.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually do something with dust.
Yeah. You can use it to spend as money to buy things from Toad.
Yeah.
You can use it to make a picture that you need to make in somebody's house as a request. You can get gifts from doing people's requests.
One really exciting and really important update is the calendar now shows the year.
Ooh!
Yeah. Ooh. I'm literally just reading through all of the changelogs now. Apparently, since the 20th of July, it costs less energy to talk to townsfolk.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
We're getting golden tools. You can go into the well now.
Yeah, I really want to find. Don't tell me. I really want to find out what's down there.
Okay.
Don't tell me. I've literally not played it in 4 weeks, so.
I literally was playing it yesterday. I like it. I like this game a lot. My favorite update is that Mel no longer stares at you creepily when you're on a date with another townsfolk in DeLuca.
Yeah, I didn't actually end up having that because I made sure that as soon as I went there, I talked to Mel and got her to the farm and the town, and she doesn't stand there after you've done that. Mm-hmm. I don't think. So yeah, I did that before my first date, but I did find that very amusing.
Mm-hmm. Go play Littlewood. I like it a lot. It's one of my favorite games, and it's not even done yet.
And by the time this podcast comes out, there will also be another update, which includes the card game, which is very exciting.
Yeah. With those.
So, go collect your monsters. Speaking of farming,
woo!
A game has entered early access, which was originally kickstarted in 2014. So if you're not aware, that's how difficult game development can be.
Mm-hmm. Pumpkin Days! And it's really cute. When they do patches, they call them pumpkin patches.
Oh dear.
I kind of love it.
So it's a game, it's a farming game. There are 2 different towns that you can live in. And apparently only some of the crops will grow in one of the town and some will grow in the other.
It reminds me a little bit of Harvest Moon: A Tale of Two Towns.
Ooh. And the other thing is that they don't mention much about this, but they say, beware, your quiet life may come to an end if the toxic Jounce Corp is allowed to build its factory.
You have an enemy. Dun dun dun.
It's capitalism.
The enemy is capitalism, not game devs. Okay, getting ahead of myself.
And that's most of the news.
Poor Pumpkin Days. Pumpkin Days has a apparently very robust character creation, which you can play a person of color.
Yeah.
That's your update. I'm going to start mentioning this on every single game now, because
No, that's good.
our emailer emailed that, and I was like, you're right. That's a really good test. Thank you. I should have thought of that myself.
The other thing is you can also play as a ginger person, so that's also important.
What?
Yeah. Ginger.
Oh, you mean like hair?
What did you think I meant?
I thought you meant like gingerbread. I don't know.
Why would I mean that?
I don't know.
Yeah, ginger hair color.
I don't know.
What would you call someone with ginger hair?
I don't know.
Ginger.
Look, it's not that you're wrong. It's that I'm wrong.
And that's most of the news.
Okay, let's do the thing.
Okay, so those of you who are up on your farming game news may well be aware that there's one piece of news that we skipped out of the news section, and that's because we decided it was so big that we should have a proper discussion about it rather than it just being something that was a 2 or 10-minute discussion, depending on how long we spend on them. And that is news about Ooblets.
You know that game I'm really excited about? That essentially looks like it was made for me?
The farming game / Pokemon crossover game.
Farming / Pokemon / Animal Crossing? Animal Crossing over? Al's done. He's like, I'm not doing these puns anymore. Get out of here. Anyway, so Ooblets. There's been some big Ooblets news recently.
There has.
As I'm sure everyone is aware and has very aggressive opinions about, surely.
Because as we know, everybody who listens to the podcast is also always watching Twitter and paying attention to all these things. Apparently that's not the case. I said that, was it 2 episodes ago, that we aren't people's only source of farming news, but apparently we are for some people.
And then people were like, yes, you are. And I'm like, what are you doing? Just follow Ooblets on Twitter.
Apparently not everyone is as obsessive as us about following farming game news. So some people may well be hearing